and welcome to LFC Focus. Liverpool are taking on Arsenal in the Premier League on Saturday evening, looking to bounce back from their horrible defeat against Leicester on Monday night. So, all things considered, I'm actually strangely optimistic for this game because when you think about it, these are the kind of games that Liverpool play well in and they turn up in. And given the form that we're in at the moment and the defeats that we've had in 2017, if we were coming up against a team like, say, Crystal Palace or Middlesbrough or West Ham, I would be a lot more worried and I might even actually expect to lose the game because, like I said, those are the kind of games that Liverpool have been losing, and these games against the top six teams like Arsenal are the ones where we actually put in a good performance. The most recent example, of course, being the win against Spurs, where I think there are some tactical reasons to it. Obviously, the higher up teams tend to play a higher line as well. They attack Liverpool a bit more. Spurs certainly did that because they left a lot of space in behind their defence, and it helps Liverpool's pressing game because they're able to put on this pressure without having to rely so much on their passing ability, which does fall short a lot of the time. I think I saw someone say that what you need against the big teams is brilliant pressing and decent passing. And then against the small teams, you need decent pressing and brilliant passing. And Liverpool are obviously very good at pressing, but their passing just isn't quite up to scratch. And when you're up against teams that park the bus, that does get found out a little bit. And we do have Felipe Coutinho, who is obviously a very good passer of the ball, but you can't just rely on him for a whole game, especially considering he has had a bit of an off month so far. He's certainly not been the same player he was before he got injured back in November. So I am quite optimistic for this Arsenal game. As for how Liverpool's set up, I think there have been a few suggestions that Klopp is planning to swing the axe. He might be dropping a few players from the lineup and maybe even experimenting with the formation. I think I said in the post-Leicester game that I'd be quite interested to see if Liverpool switch to a back three when we probably end up playing a 3-4-3 formation, a bit similar to Chelsea, because one of the problems we have defensively is that we are such an attacking team that our fullbacks are forward almost all the time. And this means that we've only got two centre-backs trying to cover the entire defensive area, and this does leave us exposed on the counter-attack to players like Jamie Vardy against Leicester and probably players like Alexis Sanchez against Arsenal. And so a back three would solve this fairly simply because the two wing backs would be able to go forward a lot more without having to worry about their defensive duties so much, and the back three would obviously get rid of the problems that we have at the moment with having so much space available for attackers to run in behind. And then it also wouldn't disrupt our front three a little bit more. It might even help it a little bit because having wing backs who are able to bomb forward all the time and provide that extra width will stop Liverpool from having to rely so much on their wide players, because obviously Felipe Coutinho is a brilliant footballer, but he isn't a left winger at the end of the day, and you always expect him to cut inside rather than go to the byline and try and get a cross in on his left foot. So having maybe a player like Alberto Moreno on the left as well, who is much more willing to just get to the touchline, then whip in a cross rather than cut inside and attempt a shot or a more simple pass, would, I think, give Liverpool a few more options as well, because there's been this problem that's been argued that Liverpool are a bit of a one-trick pony, and if their one tactic doesn't work, then they're simply not going to win the game. And I think that is one of the reasons why people say that you can tell within the first 10 minutes of a match whether Liverpool are going to win or lose, because if their usual tricks aren't coming off, then things simply aren't going to go their way. So having these alternative ways of attacking, such as getting wing-backs to cross the ball in or getting your attackers to cut inside and maybe play a short pass or have a shot instead, should hopefully help Liverpool become a bit more varied and attack a little bit better. So like I said, I am quite optimistic for this game. Unfortunately, I'm not actually going to be able to watch it because I'm going to be on stage in a play, which is a bit of a disappointment. And I don't think I'm actually going to find out the result until about an hour after the game actually finishes. But despite that, I am excited to see what happens with Liverpool and hoping that we do get the win. So here are my 3 reasons why we will beat Arsenal. So first of all, like I said, it's a big game and that's good for Liverpool. And while I think there are tactical reasons for it as well, obviously, like I said, defenders playing high lines, lots of more space in behind for the Liverpool attackers to get into. I think there is a mental aspect to it as well, because Klopp has always been a big game manager. He made his name for himself in the Champions League with Borussia Dortmund, where they went on that fabulous run to the final, beating teams like Real Madrid. And so I think he is a good motivator. He obviously likes these kind of games. Tactically, they lend it themselves to his style as well. So maybe there is a problem with that, and our players simply aren't getting fired up enough for games against the small teams. But this week, in isolated circumstances, it should work in our favour. So I think that's one of the main reasons why we will get 3 points on Saturday. And second of all, as we all know, Arsenal are actually having quite a few big problems of their own. The Wenger out movement, obviously it's always got a bit of momentum behind it, has gained a lot of traction in recent weeks. Obviously the result against Bayern Munich, where they completely capitulated in the last half hour and conceded 4 goals in that space of time against Bayern Munich, has added to that an awful lot, and it has made people question whether he's the right man for Arsenal, whether Arsenal have enough ambition, and so hopefully that will rub off on them in this game and they will not perform to their full potential. There are other issues like the fact that I think Koscielny, he is back in full training now, but there are a few doubts obviously as to whether Wenger wants to throw him straight back in against Liverpool or keep faith in his centre-back pairing as it is and then maybe bring on Koscielny towards the end. Aaron Ramsey I think is injured as well. He was another player who came back to full training, so things aren't perfect at Arsenal at the moment and hopefully Liverpool can look to capitalise on that. And finally, like I said, there is a chance that Liverpool could actually start dropping players in the future. They've sort of stuck with the same sort of lineup and setup throughout the whole of this season so far, but things have been going so wrong so recently that maybe I'm not suggesting that it's time to abandon the system completely and get rid of the 4-3-3 and get rid of the front three of Coutinho, Firmino and Mane, because they did work so brilliantly earlier on in the season, but maybe to give them a bit more of an incentive to perform and to make them realise that they are obviously still in a slightly precarious position no matter how well they perform being in the Liverpool starting 11. That maybe we should drop a few players and give another few players a chance and it could work out for us. Obviously people are saying that Moreno should get a run out at left back because Milner's performances have been pretty poor in recent weeks, and maybe Trent Alexander-Arnold should get a go in that lineup as well, whether that's at left back or right back or really anywhere on the pitch, because he is quite a versatile and pretty able player as well. So hopefully those players will actually play like their futures are on the line as well, because if they do then there'll be a lot of passion and desire and incentive to win that there simply wasn't there against Leicester. That's all for today's video. Here's hoping that Liverpool can get back to winning ways against Arsenal, and hopefully it can also kickstart our season and we can get back into the race for the top 4 as well. Thank you very much for watching. Don't forget to leave a like on the video if you enjoyed it and subscribe to the YouTube channel if you're new around here, and follow at LFC Focus TV on Twitter. Bye for now.